My name's Nate Fryer, and I do a lot of different rehab with different types of people. So the main reason I developed these machines is that, again, as a therapist and working with these injuries, it was just very, very frustrating to have a client or a patient go into the gym and not see any results. They'd have an injury, a shoulder rotator cuff tear. They go through all the proper steps, therapy, surgery in some cases, and they'd come back into the gym and they still weren't able to do the things that they enjoyed doing, whether it be running or jumping or just doing simple weightlifting exercises. So the reason, again, that I developed these weight machines was to try to fix that problem so that my clients and patients could actually see some success. Because again, in the weight room, you see just about everybody. They're compensating. They have their shoulder that is lifting up, their knee is diving in or out. Their lower back is hurting and forward flexing too much. People that are sitting at their computers all day with the slumped, rounded shoulder posture. Everybody has some sort of injury somewhere. And again, that's the main reason that I developed these machines, is to try to fix that problem, is to get everybody back on track so that they can actually work out without pain and experience that feeling again. So the mechanics of the machine are really unique in that they allow loading or resistance to happen in multiple planes of motion. If we take a look at the chest piece in particular, it's very similar, if you could imagine, two football players playing against each other. So an offensive lineman versus a defensive lineman. When they line up and they fire off across from each other, they're not just doing like a straight ahead bench press type of motion. They're actually having to move their arms and their body in multiple different directions, multiple different planes, in order to try to fight off or push that defender or the offensive player out of the way. So again, if we look at the chest press machine, you can see that the resistance is variable in these multiple different planes to help mimic that type of strength or that type of power and that type of movement in 3 different dimensions. If we look at the back piece for the lat pull down, you can see that looks very similar to a rock climber that's in a chimney position, where their hands are out to the side like this, but they have to push out as well as pull down as they're trying to move through this chimney position in the rock climbing hold. So again, they're challenging their body by utilizing multiple different planes of resistance at the same time, similar to how the machine resists the body. Although I only have these 2 machines, the chest piece and the back piece, what I envision is that there will be multiple different styles of this machine utilizing this type of technology. So again, it's multiple planes of resistance. So another quick example would be able to do this in a bicep curl. Because if you look at your bicep, it actually not only contracts in elbow flexion, but it also contracts as you supinate your wrist. So an example of a bicep machine would be something that resists you in a plane of supination as you're also doing elbow flexion. And then in a similar manner, you could do a tricep extension machine, whereas you're pronating the forearm and wrist, you're actually extending the elbow on down. Multiple other machines that could be used would be cardiovascular machines, where you're actually using an elliptical type of motion, but you have multiple angles pressing against the feet. So you're getting more glute activation, more hip activation, more adductor activation just as you're striding. Because as you run, you're actually using, again, that ground into gravity reaction forces of your foot hitting the floor or hitting the surface and then pushing off and propelling the body forward, which doesn't happen actually in a treadmill fashion. You actually lose efficiency of the musculature while you're on a treadmill. So again, I envision multiple other products being used with this technology, such as leg pieces that do internal and external rotation as you're doing a leg press, a leg extension with multiple internal, external rotation, abduction, adduction, as well as multiple core pieces, upper body, arm pieces as well. If you have any additional questions or further inquiries about the machines or future development, please feel free to contact me.